Welcome back, Romantic Home family, and welcome if y'all are new. I am Olivia, Olivia's Romantic Home. In today's video, I am so excited to share with you guys 25 DIY, Dollar Tree, and budget-friendly fall crafts and decorating. And now listen, it is time to get our fall on. As you guys can tell, I have already started getting my fall on with my kitchen, my living room, my dining room, all the fun fall things. So if you guys love all those cozy fall vibes, grab your coffee, your hot tea. I've got some red tea. It's red rooibos tea, I guess is how you say it. Lemonade, whatever you guys love to sip on, kick back and enjoy this fall crafting and decorating compilation video. Sharing with you guys so many different styles. And remember, you guys can take any craft that I share with you guys and change it up to match your personal home decor. And you don't have to go over the top for fall. You can just enjoy this fun little crafting and decorating video. I think decorating is so good for your heart and soul. If you guys love that, consider subscribing. I have been on YouTube now for 7 years. I have over 1,200 DIY crafty tutorials you guys can go back in the archives and look at. Just go to my YouTube channel and click on one of those playlists, and you're gonna hear me crafting and decorating to my little heart's content, because it's what I'm passionate about and it's my gift that I know that has been given to me by the good Lord above. Stay tuned for our new devotional at the end of this video, and without further ado, let's go ahead and plug in those glue guns, get out your glitter and paint, and let's get to crafty. For the first Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to create a super easy Dollar Tree sign. So for the Dollar Tree Crafter Square section, grab one of their rounds and some orange and brown paint if you so want to make it look kind of like a fall pumpkin. But really, you guys can create any color of pumpkin that you love. There's so many different ways of decorating for fall that are even outside the box. So we're starting out with the orange on the outside, and then I'm just kind of transitioning a little bit of brown. You guys cannot mess this up. Please try this craft. It's so super fun and easy. And we're going to create a super cute little welcome Dollar Tree sign. You can also add a hanger and even put it on your front door. I can't wait for you guys to see how cute this comes out. So anyway, for the next side, now you're just going to add in orange on the other side and a little bit of brown paint. So for this too, it doesn't have to be perfect. You guys just run your brush through the paint. You can see that I have a little towel off to the side that I'm kind of drying my brush off of, because it really helps if you just kind of just keep adding layers. It's something that I did learn in art class, and I am telling you, I am a nervous painter. I don't really feel like my painting is that good, but it's good enough, and practice makes perfect. So please try things and go for it. I want you guys, I know you guys can do this. I added a little bit of white highlight, and now for the topper for our little fall welcome sign, we're gonna be adding in some fall leaves, some raffia, really just stuff I have in my craft stash. This is so easy to do. And then a cute little bow. Okay, so this bow is also super easy. It's some Hobby Lobby clearance ribbon that I found in the regular ribbon section. All you guys have to do to tie this bow is pretend like you're tying your shoelace. You loop it over, run it under just like you're tying your shoelaces, which I know you guys can do. Now pull those ribbons back, play with it, fluff it out. Make sure you dovetail the ends, which you cut little triangles in the ends or a little slice, whatever you guys love. You want it to look nice and pretty because this is the centerpiece. I added in a countering color with that darker brown, and I simply just loop that ribbon over on itself. I'm adding in some fall berries, and boom, we have this fun little fall sign, totally budget friendly. You guys can also just, make it whatever color you love. Maybe you're doing neutral fall, you could do all whites. Maybe you're doing pink fall, you could do pink with lace. There's so many ideas for this project. So I am so excited to share this first DIY for our I Love Fall series. Now in my craft stash, I found this little welcome, lettering sign. I thought I would add that to it because then I can add it into a wreath or to my front door or just in my kitchen. I just thought it was so super cute. And for this season, we're really going to be repurposing and reusing and trying to find things without going out and spending a bunch of money. So I hope this helps, and happy crafting. Let's create a super adorable fabric pumpkin on a total budget. So grab your pizza pan out of your kitchen and any fabric that you love. This is a sheet that I bought strictly for crafting from the thrift store. It was in their scrap section, and you're going to trace out a circle, cut that out, and then simply take a needle and thread and just go cross over, under, over, under, over, under. We're going to create a big pouch and we're going to stuff it to create a fabric pumpkin. Now, I will tell you, I used too thin of thread on mine. So try to use a heavy duty thread, or even if you have twine, if you can fit the twine through whatever fabric you're using. But if you don't, you're going to run into problems at the end. So anyway, you're going to go over, under, over, over, under, under. You find your pouch and then just take some stuffing, whatever you have. You could use plastic bags, an old pillow, whatever you have. Pull that gently at the end and then tie it off. I got a little bit too pulley, and so I had a bit of a trouble tying mine off. But anyway, I ended up making it work. I added in some twigs from my front yard, and then from my craft stash, I had this raffia, some leaves. You don't even have to add this part. You could just add a little bow, but this is when you can get so creative with your super inexpensive little cheap fabric pumpkin. And I think these come out so adorable. They're so customizable. You can make these pink, purple, orange. You could use plaid fabric. You could use an old flannel shirt that maybe has holes in it, that you want to repurpose and reuse. Please don't go out and spend a bunch of money though for this project, because I know you guys have something laying around the house that's fabric that can make a cute fall pumpkin. I promise. This idea popped into my head that if you had like an old, denim something, would it be cute to make a cute little denim pumpkin? Anyway, I added in some fall leaves, some fall berries, and just really made this kind of more of a neutral pumpkin. My daughter does all black and white in her room. Well, not just all black and white, but I'm going to sneak this in her room and see if she likes it. I love creating stuff for all the rooms in my house for fall, even if it's just setting out a couple pumpkins. I think it makes it feel festive, and back to school is always something to look forward to. And even if you don't have kids that are going back to school, maybe your grandkids are going to be popping in. You could bake them some cookies one weekend, and they could see some cute little festive fall pumpkins that you have created. And these are so budget friendly. You guys have to try this, and happy crafting. Now this DIY is a trash to treasure DIY. I'm taking this pumpkin cutout that I had left over from a couple seasons back from Dollar Tree, and I just traced it out, and then I'm cutting it out, and we're using a cardboard box. So you guys can make a bunch of these. I made 4, super simple to make. Your kids can help you. I'm going to simply chalk paint it first because I do want to paint mine orange, and I felt like my orange paint wasn't heavy duty enough, so I went ahead and painted it with a white base. But if you have stronger paint or more paint, I was a little bit low on my orange paint. You guys, anyway, you can paint it really whatever color you want, but I chalk painted it white to give me a good base to go with, and then I'm going to take some orange paint, and this is a jack-o'-lantern color from Walmart. It's in the apple barrel at paint section. Their paints are like 50 cents, I think. And then I'm just going to simply do an orange line and then a brown line, and I'm using different paint brushes for each color. I'm going in and kind of creating some dimension for my pumpkin, and I'm using larger brown lines, but I'm going to go in and go over them with a little bit more orange. This is really easy. I want you guys to try this and give yourself some grace. Don't make it perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, because if you guys go out to a pumpkin patch this fall, those pumpkins that God has created are not perfect, and we have to think about that even in our lives. We're not perfect. So have fun trying this. I know you guys can do it. And so just paint some pretty little lines and a cute little brown top, and you have an adorable pumpkin. We made this out of cardboard. All you need is some patience, some scissors, some creativity, and you can really have fun with this. You can make a bunch of them and put them in a garland, and it's basically free if you have that paint on hand. So have fun with this, get creative. Oh, and you guys can also make homemade chalk paint. If you have a little bit of white paint at home, So it's 1 cup of paint to half a cup of baking soda. You mix that really, really well, and that is going to give you some chalky chalk paint to craft with. So anyway, have fun, play around with it. I made several of these, put them on my mantle. I felt like they could have looked like wooden painted pumpkins. I did have somebody guess though that they were cardboard when I asked you guys how I made these on Facebook. Oh, and if you're not following me on Olivia's Romantic Home Facebook page, pop over there. Please like and share my content. I am a full-time content creator, and it's what I have a passion for, and I'm just thankful and blessed to have you guys here. I'm super excited to share with you guys so many ideas for fall, and happy crafting. This is a Trash to Treasure DIY, and we're going to create a fall banner. So you want to take a cardboard box and just cut out some triangles in the shape of a banner. I had this leftover cardboard box. I knew I wanted to make some pumpkins, so I had made some pumpkins, and I wanted to make a banner to match my pumpkins. Once I have my triangles cut out, I'm going to paint them with some white chalk paint. That's going to give me a good base to paint on top of, because I want to paint some checks, like a orange and white check. I have these cute little orange and white check pumpkins from Dollar Tree, and I wanted something to match them. So I'm going to draw in just some stripes, and once I had that done, I'm going to draw down the center and just make some checks, however big or small you want to make them. Just a little tip though, if you guys are new at painting checks, try to maybe do larger checks. It makes it a little bit easier. And so now I'm taking this jack-o'-lantern apple barrel paint, super inexpensive from Walmart, and I'm just going to make checks on my little banner. So this is so easy. Now, if you guys were to have fabric, you could also cover these in fabric as an idea, but I don't have any orange fabric. I wish I would have picked some up at the thrift store, but I am challenging myself, you guys, to really use what I have. I love that there's so much out there and so many ideas, but sometimes it can feel overwhelming, and it can be hard on your budget if you're constantly seeing people buying all new things all the time. You have to have all new this. You really don't. And I really want to, I know there's a trend called underconsumption, instead of like constantly buying new things all the time, to use what you have and just feel very content with that. And so that's something that I'm really going to focus on this year, because I saw somebody's comment the other day after I had made like a really big, beautiful floral, and it was a really sweet comment. They complimented my floral, but they said that they just wished so much that they had things to make like that. And so I understand we don't always have the budget to do that, and I want to share with you guys things that you can do that you have laying around your house. So this is value ribbon from Hobby Lobby. It was on clearance, but Dollar Tree has almost this exact same ribbon. Now that I have my little banner flags painted, I'm going to simply just hot glue them to the back of this piece of ribbon, and that's going to hold my banner up. And I will tell you to find kind of more of a heavy duty ribbon if you can. That little ribbon that they have at Dollar Tree is perfect. Just hot glue it to the back, or any ribbon you guys have. You could even, cut some fabric strips and do this on a piece of fabric strip. You do not have to run out and buy a bunch of money. I have a lot of stuff in my craft stash, and I will admit I'm the worst. I think, oh, I have nothing to craft with. That's a lie. I have a ton of crafting supplies, and I can really get creative, and I don't have to buy a ton of new things. Even from Dollar Tree, things can add up. So I hope you guys are inspired, and happy crafting. For this next DIY, we're going to do a super inexpensive, almost free craft. We're going to make a toilet paper pumpkin. So grab a pizza pan from your kitchen and trace a huge just circle, but you want to make it larger than your pizza pan. So you want to make it fairly large. And you guys can use any fabric, but we're going to make a toilet paper pumpkin. I do not have fall fabric on hand, unfortunately, so I'm using this sheet that I had bought for crafting. It's a little polka dot sheet, and I just thought that would be cute because I do have a lot of orange, and I thought, you know what, I need some subtle colors. So I thought this would be fun. Also, my daughter loves black and white, so I'll probably pop this into her bedroom if she likes it and thinks it's cute. So once I had cut my piece of fabric out, I'm going to take my toilet paper roll, and this is great because is, hey, if you need a backup roll, you've got one sitting around your house. No fear about running out of toilet paper here. And you just simply take that fabric and smush it into the center of your toilet paper roll. This is a new roll. Nobody's used it, so don't worry about that. And I like to take my scissors at the very end because that last piece of fabric can kind of give me a little bit of problem. And so take those scissors and push them down in there and you should be good to go. The next thing I decided to do was I got a little zhuzhy with it. So I ended up adding in a fall leaf, some berries, and just some fun goodies. I have this fall garland that I'm just trimming stuff off of because it has seen better days and I really want to use it for crafting and making pretty things. So I'm just going to take some goodies off of it with these pretty leaves to kind of match that other pumpkin that we made with the fabric pumpkin. So we're going to add in this pretty little piece of raffia, some fall leaves. You guys can just get so creative with it. Nothing has to be perfect, and it can be from your own mind and your own creation. You could be making these pumpkins pink or plaid or denim or whatever fabric you have laying around. If you have an old sweatshirt laying around that has a hole in it, something that you don't use that maybe you're going to send to the thrift store or the trash can, whatever, grab it. Have fun with it, get creative. You can make Halloween pumpkins. Just really get creative in your mindset and don't be afraid to try things. Also, I went for a walk today and picked up a bunch of sticks that were pumpkin size. For these crafts, I had to use little tiny sticks because I didn't have any large sticks in my front yard. I did a bunch of yard work last weekend and picked up a bunch of sticks and then disposed of them. So anyway, didn't save my sticks. But here is the finished product with that toilet paper pumpkin. I think it turned out super adorable. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Do you think it's fun? Have you tried these before? So for some of these DIYs today, we are going to collect items from nature. If you don't have these items, you can also just grab them from your local grocery store or craft store. So in my backyard, I do have this beautiful rose bush, and you can tell its buds are on its way out. So I'm going to go ahead and clip it back. And when you clip back your rose bush, you want to clip it back to the spot where it has 5 leaves if all of your petals or all of your buds have already bloomed. I have my pretty little thrift store basket, and I'm just going to begin to collect flowers and leaves in and around my backyard for the first part of today's DIY. I want you guys to enjoy this bit of nature. I had a recent subscriber say to me that they were living in a really small home and they didn't have much to craft with except for natural items. So I hope that this inspires you. Another thing we want to do is notice the outdoor nature. My maple tree is already blooming with fall leaves, so take a look in your yard. Do you all have fall leaves? So I'm taking the beautiful florals that I collected in my yard, and they're not, full on, the prettiest at the peak bloom summer florals. They're more kind of end of summer florals, or I've let everything bloom in my yard and I'm just kind of collecting, the beautiful nature, even though it's not at its peak, I guess you would say. So maybe this is kind of like a shabby chic teapot floral, but I encourage you all to let your flowers bloom and then scoop them up towards the end. Create a pretty little floral in any type of floral container that you have. It doesn't have to be a vintage teapot, but I just thought this would be so pretty, and it really accented all of the beautiful florals from my yard. And it's kind of a messy floral, but I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to feel like a cottage garden. Okay, the next thing I want to do is take the remaining florals and put them on just a baking sheet, because I'm going to try some different ways of doing pressed flower. So I went online to find several different tutorials to try to let you know which ones were the best. In the first dried flower or pressed flower tutorial we're going to try, they said to use rice. So I had some rice that was out of date. I've been saving it to use for crafting, and so I just spread it on the bottom of one of my pans and then put the flowers in. So supposedly you can take rice, put your flowers in, then cover it with rice and bake it. It said at 270 degrees for 2 hours, but I do believe that that was too long, unless you just really want some really nice brown dried flowers. Maybe I didn't follow the instructions on it perfectly, but it wasn't probably my favorite. But I will tell you, it looks like a beautiful flower casserole going in. So once you have all of your flowers on top of the rice, you're simply going to take another layer of rice and put that over the flowers. And I will tell you, if I was a fairy, this would be what I would want for dinner. It's funny because my daughter and I were talking about how when she was little, I used to call her my little fairy. And so I'm just really feeling all of the cottage feels today, and I hope you guys are enjoying this just kind of slow living homemaking video. So I'm going to take and go ahead and cover it with that layer of rice. Again, the flowers came out pretty good, but I have another way of pressing flowers. It's super easy and fast, and I think that they maintain their freshness just a little bit better. So once I had that done, I just went ahead and pulled it out and set it aside. Here is how the flowers look. You can tell they got really, really baked. So they look definitely like dried fall flowers. And they were dried out really well. And I am going to save my rice for another craft, even though it's only good for crafting. And I know that because I'm the one in my kitchen, and I will label it as well. And I'm going to share with you guys a craft as we go along. But here is how they were looking. What do you guys think? I do love dried flowers and pressed flowers. So I don't feel like this one was probably the best though. But if you were needing to go for time, there's another way that I'm going to share with you guys using paper towels in a microwave. Okay, so here is the second way of drying flowers that you all can try. You just take your flowers and put them on top of a paper towel, and you can just gently lay them on there. And once you have all your flowers on, you simply take another layer of paper towel and put it on a plate. You want to microwave it for 30 seconds, and then I microwaved mine again for another 30 seconds. They were still a little bit damp, but I set them out and they seemed to dry out. So this way I felt like the flowers really maintained their color a lot nicer. Maybe I just overbaked the flower casserole, which wouldn't be surprising for me because I have a tendency to overbake things sometimes in my kitchen. So I hope you guys are enjoying this idea and that you're inspired to pick up some pretty flowers and dry them. We're going to make some crafts with them as well. And The other way to dry flowers, you could do pressed flowers where you put it in between parchment paper and then put it in a book. I didn't have any parchment paper, so I'm going to try it with just a plastic bag, stick it in the book, and then put something heavy on top of it. This is a really darling little folk art book that I got from the thrift store. Go to your thrift store if you guys want to find cool books. You'll find the most amazing books, and they're so unique, and so many of them have art in them, which I'm going to share with you guys an idea for that next. So after trying those 3 different ways of drying flowers, the book way you're supposed to let sit for 2 weeks, so we're going to have to come back to that one. I'm going to do some of the maple leaves that I collected in my yard, and we're going to use these for several crafts in this video. I'm going to use the paper towel way because it's fast, easy, and I want these maple leaves to maintain their color. So simply lay your leaves on top of a piece of paper towel, and then you put the paper towel on top of it, microwave it for a minute, and then once you pull it out, your leaves will be really nice and dried out. You can also add hairspray to make them not crinkly and flaky. Now let's set aside those dried flowers. I have this glass from the thrift store, and I'm going to make a cone and sift the rice into it. Once I have my rice all in my bottle, I'm going to simply get that rice up, and then I wanted to create just a really kind of pretty little cottage decor idea. So this is a really budget-friendly way that you guys can decorate for fall. Simply take a ribbon or a piece of lace and tie it around any pretty bottle that you all have on hand, and then add a pretty fall leaf. I saw this on Pinterest several times, and so I thought this must be a thing. And I also feel like it's so sweet if you guys love shabby chic and lace, and it would be so easy to just cut some lace or grab some pretty lace from the thrift store, which is where I found mine, or a flea market, or Hobby Lobby has really inexpensive lace. Now I'm going to take one of those dried maple leaves that we did in the microwave. So 1 minute in the microwave in between 2 paper towels, and you're gonna have a pretty dried leaf to craft with. So you guys don't even have to go out and buy any fall leaves. But if you don't have fall leaves, Dollar Tree sells packs of leaves for $1.25, and you get probably, I think there's 50 in the pack. So here is how that looks. I think it's so pretty. I wish I had a bunch of pretty jars like this and I could put so many things in these jars, but I am gonna start saving all my just regular jars, you know, like salsa jars and things like that, to create some pretty cottage crafts with. Now I'm going to take, and with my scissors, I'm going to make some smaller pieces of lace to tie around the top, just to make it a little bit more pretty and shabby. Next DIY, I want to share with you how to create some pretty art, and this is basically free. You're going to take some pieces of cardboard, and I'm cutting them into a square. I want these to look really cottagey and kind of shabby chic, so I really don't want them to be perfect which it goes against my nature, but this is an exercise in patience and love and joy. So I just took and cut some squares. I didn't have frames. I really wanted to be able to frame some of these pretty dried flowers, but instead I decided to use the cardboard, and I'm going to hot glue these coffee filters on the front as a backdrop. Now is the fun part. You can use ribbon or lace to outline to make somewhat of a frame, which is what I'm doing. I'm going to use 4 pieces of lace, and then I'm going to make a beautiful dried floral arrangement, and I'm going to make a hanger on the back so I can hang it on my wall for some beautiful cottage wall art. To create a hanger, I'm using a piece of floral wire and cardboard. That's going to create a really easy hanger, and then I simply spritzed it with a dab of hairspray so my little leaves don't flake off and fall on the floor. And then I have a beautiful piece of cottage art. I know it is a little bit crooked, but I go back and fix it, so no worries there. I hope you guys are inspired, and even though this doesn't look perfect and it looks really crafty, I thought it turned out really pretty. The next idea for cottage art is to grab an old book, and this book happened to be a folk art book, which I thought was really amazing. In fact, this last weekend I went to a beautiful museum, and there were so many different arts from different times, and this folk art reminds me of some of the art that I saw in that museum. So I'm going to take, and I do have one frame on hand that I'm going to use to frame out some beautiful folk art, and I'm choosing something that has a bit of a kitchen theme, and I thought that would be perfect for today's fall video. this next DIY, we're gonna make some homemade chocolate chip cookies, and I'm not very creative with my baking as far as going out of the box for recipes. I simply use the Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookie recipe that's on the chocolate chip cookie bag, and that's 3/4 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, the called for butter. I usually just throw in 2 sticks, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then you're going to want to mix that. And this is such a yummy part right here with the sugar and the vanilla extract and the butter. Oh my goodness. I will leave the recipe in the description box. My kiddos love this recipe. The next thing I want to add are 2 eggs, and then I want to beat that really well. And again, this is just such a family favorite. Drop a comment down below and let me know what your favorite cookie recipe is. And if you're brave enough, share that recipe. And if I'm brave enough, I might try to bake it on camera for you guys. But I guess if it's not broke, I'm not going to try to fix it. So my kids love this, and my kids are kind of funny where they like a certain taste. So especially my son, he wants things to taste a certain way. It has to taste mom's way when it comes to chocolate chip cookies. So the next thing we're going to add is the flour, and I like to mix that in a separate bowl. It's going to be 2 1/4 cup of flour, and then you want to add in your baking soda, and that's a teaspoon. I like to go ahead and add that, whisk that, and then begin to add it into my sugary mix, which is so delicious. Do you guys eat the cookie dough batter? I always have. I grew up always eating it, even though I do know that there's raw egg in there. But I know, there a lot of people say you're not supposed to. So a fun fact, I went to Costa Rica with my dad when I first graduated from high school, and they don't refrigerate their eggs there. So what are your thoughts on that? This might be controversial bringing up a subject like this, but anyway, I do refrigerate my eggs, but I just thought that was interesting. The next thing I'm going to add is the yummiest part of all, and that's those chocolate chips. Sometimes I'll measure it out and do 2 cups, and then usually I just throw in the whole bag and try not to eat too many while I'm making them. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and give that a good mixy mix. I preheat my oven to 350 degrees. I also put my chocolate chip cookie dough in the refrigerator to kind of cool off while I'm making them. I cook them for exactly 8 to 9 minutes, and I let them cool on the pan for 5 minutes. I don't let them go past 9 minutes, and there you have a nice delicious cookie. So I'm gonna now take my delicious cookies and put them in this cute little brown paper bag as if I was packing them up for a friend. I would probably put them in a plastic bag as well. I am actually out of plastic bags. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and tie a pretty piece of twine around it, and then this is just kind of like a fall cookie bag idea for you guys. I added a piece of lace. I think these would be beautiful to give out to neighbors. Put a couple cookies. I would put them inside of a Ziploc, like a little Ziploc, sandwich bag, and then put them in the brown bag. But there you guys have that. I thought it was so sweet. We're going to do some more crafts, but I thought I would throw in a nice little recipe for you guys. Here's a super easy budget-friendly craft that you all can do using the Dollar Tree scarves. So I'm simply taking the Dollar Tree scarf, and I found it in this buffalo check plaid fabric, and I'm going to hot glue the fabric together. You guys could also easily get fabric from the fabric store, or you could use a sheet, really whatever type of fabric that you love, that you want to make pumpkins out of. But because this is a Dollar Tree DIY, we're going to use those scarves. So I'm very gently going to hot glue the scarves together. You also might want to use finger protectors. I don't have really, I have really pretty tough fingers on the ends of my fingers. So, and I'm just using this little popsicle stick to kind of help seal it together. And what we're going to do though is make some fabric pumpkins. I'm going to use my old pizza pan, and I'm just going to trace a big old circle. This is super easy, and I have shared with you guys so many different fabric pumpkins before, but this is such a fun one. And you guys can also go out to your yard to collect sticks for your little pumpkin stems. So super duper easy. So once we have that done, we're just going to go ahead and trim out the center, and then we are going to sew it into somewhat of like a little pouch and then stuff it. Oh, these come out so adorable, and you guys could easily pop a show on, kick down the AC, and really get to town. So I'm going to use this thicker string this time. The last one I did, I used too thin of a string and it popped open. You just take your string and you go in, out, and then that is going to make that little pouch. And you guys can make these really jumbo or really small, whatever size, but I do suggest you using a nice thick rope or string. And then one of you guys commented too that you can use dental floss, which is an awesome idea as well. Now that we have our little pouch all sewn up, we are going to add in that stuffing. This is the fun part. You guys can get really creative and pop your little stuffing in, and then whatever type of stem you want to do. I think for this one, it's going to be kind of rustic looking. So we are just going to grab one from the yard, and these are perfect. I've also been going on walks with Benji Bear and just trimming, or on my walk taking like a bag, and that way I have something to collect little pumpkin stems with. People might think it's a bit strange, but anyway, so once I have my stem in, I'm going to go ahead and pull that close and then just tie it off. These are so cute and so super duper easy, and they make such a great little fabric pumpkin for popping into some little buckets or sitting around your mantle or wherever you need a fun little fabric pumpkin. So we don't want to waste any of the leftovers of the scarf that we used for our pumpkin. So what I'm going to do is just take it and cut it into strips. Again, this is that Dollar Tree scarf. I'm going to cut it into strips. You guys can, just use any fabric you want to make a little rag garland. These are so fun and easy to make. And the longer you make the strips, the easier they will be to tie on to your piece of string. You guys can also sew them as well. So just however suits your fancy, and you guys can even make little rag garland wreaths, which I've shared with you guys during Christmas time. So I know I have a good little pile here. I'm going to take some just burlap fabric ribbon. I think I got this sent to me a couple years ago, so I've had this for quite some time, but I'm just going to cut it down the center, and that's going to give us a little bit more bang for our buck. And then I'm just going to cut it into strips, kind of about the same size as the pieces of the black and white. So now I'm just going to take my string, and this is from the automotive section, I believe, but just tie it onto there. It's super easy, you guys. You guys can have your kids help you do something like this. Again, if you do make your ties a little bit longer, they can be a little bit easier to tie.
So here's a fun Dollar Tree craft. I'm going to make some homemade chalk paints. You're going to take 1 cup of regular paint to half a cup of baking soda for that homemade chalk paint. Then I'm going to take just some old Dollar Tree florals and I want to paint them white and give them just a little bit of new look and life. And this is also going to make them really nice and stiff with that chalk paint. So they're going to flower out and not be kind of wilty looking. So if you guys want to repurpose some of your sunflowers that are your fake sunflowers, this is a fun idea, especially if you love that shabby chic look. So I'm just going to go ahead and give them a good coat of paint here. And that homemade chalk paint is really, really good for crafting. It's not so good for painting furniture unless it's like a really junky old piece of furniture, because it can be kind of gritty with the baking soda in there. You know, unless you're able to really give it a good mixy, but mine's always been a little bit gritty. But for crafting, it is on point. It is good, and it's much cheaper than the regular chalk paint. Okay, so once we have that finished, we're just going to set that aside. And here I'm going to do another one. Oh my goodness, this is a nice big daisy. Okay, so once I have those nice and chalk painted, I'm just going to use some Elmer's glue. And we're going to add some sparkle darkle to the center of this. These are so fun. You guys could get really creative. You could add little pearls, glam jewels, whatever you love to the center of these. And then it takes some pretty glammy glitter for this one. And you can really just do double duty here. Shake that on and boom. How pretty is this? And I think that I did get that chunky glam glitter from Dollar Tree. Okay, so I'm going to pop it in to my cute little rustic setting here. And what do you guys think? I think it's fabulous. Okay, now we are going to bake some pine cones I collected in my yard. So for pine cone baking, you probably want to set your oven at about 250 is what I set mine at. And then you want to bake your pine cones for about 30 to 60 minutes. I collected these actually from a neighbor's house. They had kind of like piled them all in a spot. And so I'm just going to pile them on this aluminum baking sheet. You want to put down wax paper or foil. You can also add in some oils once they're done baking to make them super smelly. I've done this craft before, and you guys can also paint them, but you do want to bake pine cones before you set them out in your house. If you get them out from a yard, they can carry like some little buggies you may not want in your home, which we want to be cognizant of. And so then once I had this done, I tried to do this just by memory. I ended up baking my pine cones for like 2 hours. That was probably a little bit too long, but they're definitely probably bug free. And I will tell you, while I was baking them, oh my goodness, the pine cone evergreen smell was so delicious. It was better than any candle. I thought it made my house smell so good. So go ahead and pop them into the oven. This is when I had my flour casserole going. I promise you guys, that is not a real casserole. There's flowers in there that were dehydrating. Okay, so now once I have these done, I'm going to put them in a pretty little bowl. I got this bowl at the thrift store, and then I'm going to add some essential oils. You guys can make potpourri and add really whatever you love. I had some vanilla on hand. I wish I had some clove oil, but I think I might have some if I look around. But yeah, just go ahead and put them in a pretty bowl and add in some nice oils. Since I had my oven on, I decided to go ahead and bake some oranges. You can make these into ornaments, but I want to use them for potpourri. So I'm going to bake them at 250 degrees. I put them in for about 30 minutes, but I do think that they should bake a little bit longer. I'm also adding cinnamon to these to make them look a little bit more fall. So after I had baked them for about 30 minutes, I had just actually took them out and set them out in the sun, because where I'm at right now, it's 90 degrees. Even though we're doing fall crafting, it is so hot. In fact, I've had to wait till late in the evening when the sun's completely down to even take my little puppy dog Benji Bear for a walk, although this morning I was able to get him out earlier in the morning. So here is how those look. I add them with the cinnamon on there, and then I'm just going to add them into my little potpourri setting here. I've got the fresh flowers and the fresh cookies and the pretty art that we made. So many fun crafts in this video. I hope you guys are loving it and are so inspired. Again, this is episode 4 in my huge I Love Fall series. Now on our next video, I am going to be announcing a new giveaway for you guys, which I'm super excited about. So stay tuned. And thank you so much for being here. It is truly a blessing and an honor to have you guys. I wanted to give you a little bit more of that beautiful fall aesthetic. I wanted to make this super cottage friendly as well as super budget friendly. So I hope every single craft is attainable for every single budget. And I think they're some of them are pretty age friendly as well. I think your kids could help you with a lot of these different ideas. So I hope you guys love it. Here I'm also just sharing what I made for dinner. I made rice bowls with veggies, and then I baked some carrots for about 20 minutes in avocado oil and some salt and garlic powder. And then I just have a rice veggie bowl with zucchini, tomatoes, and then a little bit of sour cream cilantro sauce. And this was my dinner. So I hope you guys are loving it. I just want to share so many different things with you guys. I feel really creative and artistic this season. So I hope you guys are loving it and enjoying it. And here is my nice little cup of hot tea. I also am going to share the Bible study with you guys at the end of this video. So I hope you guys are here for this. And then of course we have my trusty assistant Benji Bear. He is sniffing it up, helping me find all the fall leaves. I call his walks, they're like a scratch and sniff walk. I've been trying to grab more footage for you guys of Tinky Bear. She really just loves to eat and be harassed by Benji Bear. Well, she doesn't really like that, but you know. For the first Dollar Tree DIY, let's create a beautiful romantic Dollar Tree pumpkin. So I'm taking one of their styrofoam pumpkins. Originally it had the velvet around it, but I removed the velvet, and then I took some Dollar Tree wrapping paper and some Mod Podge, and I'm simply going to Mod Podge the pretty roses to the pumpkin. So it did take just a bit of Mod Podge. It's a little bit easier to do this if you have napkins over wrapping paper, but I will tell you that some of the Dollar Tree wrapping paper is really thin. So relax. You could have your kids help you if you give them some child scissors and ask them to help you cut out the roses, because it does have the white background with the roses. It doesn't have to be totally precise. I did Mod Podge on the pumpkin first, and then I Mod Podged over the roses. So I used lots of Mod Podge. I guess I'm kind of an aggressive Mod Podger, but I hope you guys are inspired by this. I think these are so cute to do. And then I'm going to share with you guys how we're going to make a fancy gold handle.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight. Forgo, give up everything everything that I own. Yeah, I'd give it all up now just to be with you somehow. Unexpected love was found. You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest.
So now I'm going to create a gilded pumpkin stem, and to do that I just have this adhesive. It's for metallic leafing, and you can get this at Hobby Lobby. It's super easy to use once I finally figured out how to use it, how to read the instructions. Are you guys super impatient like me and you don't read directions? Anyway, you want to put it on your item and then let it get tacky. So that's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes, but read the directions on your adhesive. And then you can take some of the gold leafing, and this gold leafing, the flakes are about $3 for a big container. And I like to use the gloves to kind of hold it with, because the glue gets on your fingers and it's really sticky. But I'm just taking the adhesive and, outlining the adhesive, or sticking the adhesive on, and you just kind of cover your item, and you can use a brush to get the little flakes off. It does make a little bit of a mess, but it's so well worth it. I'm adding some hot glue to add my little pumpkin stem back on, and boom, look at how beautiful this is, you guys. I am in love with this. I could make so many of these. What do you all think about this sweet little romantic pumpkin? I think it's something that's very boutique, gorgeous, and very fabulous on a total budget. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I am going to take a t-shirt and then this Dollar Tree metal pumpkin, and I'm going to trace out 3 pumpkins because I want to make a really cute little pumpkin throw pillow. I have seen so many of these out at stores, really beautiful decorative pumpkins, and I thought, you know what, I have this cute pillow, I could sew some pumpkins on it and that would be free 90 free. So I went ahead and cut out 3 pumpkin shapes after I traced them out, and then I'm just going to take a needle and thread, and I'm simply going to stitch them on to my pretty little pillowcase here. And if I change my mind, I'm just using big stitches, and these are just going to be decorative, and so if I change my mind, I can always just clip off the pumpkin. But I was so excited with how these came out. So grab whatever throw pillow that you guys have on hand and cut out some pretty pumpkins, and let's make some pumpkin pillows.
Hold you in my arms, won't let go. The world around could pass us by, a thunderstorm, a lightning strike, as we hold each other tight. You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest. You're the leaves in mid-August, and I've come out here to say that I love you.
So once I have my pumpkins attached, I'm just going to hot glue in and around the edge of the pumpkin with this pretty rickrack trim. I decided that I'm definitely going to keep these as pumpkin pillows, so I thought they just turned out so adorable. And the rickrack trim is from Dollar Tree. They have so many little goodies. So I'm just going to hot glue these on in and around the entire pumpkin, and I added a little bit of a stem at the top, and I got to the very end of this project, you guys, and I barely had enough rickrack to go around all of them. I just kind of eyeballed it, and whew, then I took some Dollar Tree baker's twine and tied a little bow. I did that to all my pumpkins, and here is the final result. What do you guys think? I think they're absolutely darling on a total budget. For this DIY, we are going to make a boo bag out of a pillowcase. So a boo bag is like a little candy bag, or you can just stuff it with some fluffing and it can be cute decor. I just have this pink pillowcase that I found at the thrift store. I loved the color and thought, you know what, I'll find something to do with it. So I had this white fabric that I'm just cutting into the shape of a ghosty ghost, and I do cute ghosty ghost, not spooky ghost. And so I'm just going to add this to my little boo bag. And again, this is a candy bag you guys can use for your little ones to collect candy in. It's kind of big if you had a really little one for this size of pillowcase, but you guys could always make them a little bit smaller. I'm adding some cute little eyes to my little ghost bag. I also thought this would be a cute idea if you guys have like a little girl that has like a cute little princess costume and she wants like a cute little bag that goes with her costume. You guys could really customize these. So I'm going to take this and fold the my little top down, and then I'm just going to cut slits to string my ribbon through. This was a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be, but stick with me here. I probably should have cut my pillowcase down more. I really didn't need this thick of strips because I ended up rolling it down so many times, but you know what, this is just going to be for decor around my house. It's my own personal girly boo bag because I don't have any grandbabies or little girls running around right now. So anyway, I'm going to take a pretty ribbon and just pull this through, and you guys can get so creative with this part, and you guys don't have to be doing pink on all these projects. Think outside the box and think about what your decor style is and what your colors are, and use your colors and make that work. So I'm just continuing to string this through my little loops here, and you want to string it all the way around, and then you can tie it off. And once you guys have that done, you can add an even cute little accent ribbon. For this Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to create a super cute pink pumpkin. So I'm taking one of these Dollar Tree pumpkins, and there's nothing wrong with it except for simply I want it to match some of my pastel decor that I'm incorporating into my decor this year. So I simply removed the velvet and then set the little stem aside, and then I'm taking this pink fabric, and this is just left over from the little pumpkin pillow that we made. No scraps left behind on this DIY video, let me tell you guys. But I will tell you that your scissors are so great for poking that fabric into the hole. So even if you have excess fabric, you can go out and pull out some of it and trim it off. But it's good to have a little bit more than it is to have less as far as this craft is concerned. And the styrofoam really is easy to work with because it gives you a lot to poke into. I just trimmed off the excess, and now I'm going to do a gilded stem, kind of like I did on that rose pumpkin. So you're going to take adhesive glue that's for metallic leafing. It's at Hobby Lobby, and it's all in the same section. It's super easy to find. Okay, with this glue, you paint it on a nice thin layer, but then you want to let it dry. It needs to dry 15 or 20 minutes, which is super hard for me when I first started trying this project, but I learned my lesson the hard way, wasting my little gold flakes and getting very frustrated. So once it is dry, it's so easy to use. It's very tacky, and you just take those little pieces of leafing and you just simply apply them, and they're going to stick to whatever project you're working with. So great. I absolutely love it. My impatience did not pay off when it comes to this type of leafing, but this makes things look really fancy. I swear you could paint almost anything with the tacky glue and add the gold leafing and instant fanciness. You guys know I got really super into all the Bridgerton romantic period dramas this summer, so I was doing a lot of gold leafing. I kind of took a break from it, but now I'm back with these little pumpkin stems. Let me know what you guys think about this, and have you ever tried it? I love this. I would love to try some new crafting ideas. I've been looking up so many different ideas for this season. I hope I can get them all out for you guys before Christmas crafting starts. But if you guys love Christmas crafting, go back and check out all of my Christmas crafting playlists. This is my 6th season on YouTube, and welcome if you guys are new. I'm Olivia with Olivia's Romantic Home. I'm a DIY crafty mama, and I'm a one-man show. And if you guys have been watching me for years, thank you so much. It is such a blessing and honor to have you guys here. I see so many familiar faces in the comment section, and I just love hearing from you guys, and I see you. Thank you for all of your kind comments. Okay, so here is how our cute little pumpkin turned out. I think it looks super fancy. Definitely doesn't look like from Dollar Tree, and it matches my sweet little pink decor. For this next DIY, we're going to do a trash to treasure DIY. So I had made some bean burritos this week, and I saved my bean cans. I actually made bean burritos and then bean dip. I like to get the organic beans from Aldi's and go to town. They're great for fiber and also some protein in there. So anyway, I'm just going to take some chalk paint, and I'm going to chalk paint my little bean cans. And I did 2 coats of the Waverly white chalk paint for these. So drop a comment down below and let me know what you guys are working on. I would love to hear what you're up to. So I was walking my dog Benji Bear in the neighborhood, and I noticed that one of my neighbor's trees had a bunch of acorns that had fallen into the road. So I scooped some up, and I knew that I could use them for fall crafting, and I was eyeing them while I was doing all these projects, and I thought, you know what, we need to make some pink acorns. So I thought, I'm going to take my little pink paint that I have. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel on this, but I'm going to make some cute little pink acorns. Don't come for me if you like regular colored acorns, but they were still actually green on the end. So I don't know what that means. I guess maybe they turn brown after they've been on the ground for a while, or maybe these dropped off their tree early. But sorry to any of the squirrels who might have grabbed those little acorns. There were tons of them, and I felt like it wasn't too bad because they were in the road and probably would have gotten crushed anyway. Okay, I'm taking a piece of lace off of an old dress that I have been using for crafting, and I'm just going to hot glue it in and around the interior part of this can and make it into a shabby chic, cute little decor thing that I could put roses in or just do whatever. So you're really not going to be able to tell that it's a can. Maybe it's a can with a skirt. But hey, look around your craft stash and start trying to use what you have on hand. That is my biggest challenge to me this season. I'm going to try to get all the way through fall and Halloween and Christmas, which, by the way, I don't actually really celebrate Halloween, but I do love candy and trick-or-treaters and dressing up in not so spooky costumes. And you know, if you guys like to be spooky, that's whatever you guys have going on. But just a little side note there. So anyway, I'm going to take this baker's twine and just tie it off in and around my cute little can. And I decided, since I painted the acorns, I needed to incorporate them into at least one of the crafts here. I think they're going to be cute set around as well. But I just made a cute little shoelace bow here, and I was thinking, maybe I could, you know, hot glue an acorn to the front of my little shabby chic fall. You know, I don't know, it could be a vase, it could be a holder for pencils or pens. But anyway, here is how it looks. It's a little fall, cutie cute, shabby chic, just little can. And hey, it was free 90 free, everything I already had on hand. Very cute. I put some roses in it, and it went really well with all my pretty little decor that I have on my side table. I hope you guys are loving it or totally inspired. Okay, do you guys have old ribbon that's left over that you need to repurpose? I am going to take this old ribbon and simply put it into ribbon rehab. And I had to do a voiceover on that because my audio got messed up. But anyway, I'm taking all this ribbon I had tied into bows for fall garlands, and it's crunchy, munchy, not so great. We are going to take it to ribbon rehab and make a pretty, what I'm going to call a ribbon tail bow. So I'm going to go ahead and iron out all of this ribbon. It didn't really take that long, and I will suggest for you guys to put your iron on a low setting and be careful with any of your ribbon that is like really thin. And also put a towel underneath. But here's how my ribbon turned out. Okay, so I'm going to take some of my ribbon and I'm going to make a big long ribbon tail bow. So I'm taking this rose ribbon, the green ribbon, some pink ribbon. So it's the rose ribbon is from spring, the pink ribbon is from Easter, the Mackenzie Childs ribbon is just my go-to. It's for any season. I love it. I decided I wanted to make some thinner strips on my rose ribbon. So what we want to do is just make a tail bow. I don't know if you guys have seen that before. That's what I'm calling it. I don't know what the official term is for it, but these are kind of popular and fun to make and super easy. Your kiddos can make these. So you're just going to take strips of ribbon and layer them together. This is the easiest bow you're ever going to do. In fact, it's not even really a bow. It's more of like a wreath decoration, or I don't know what you guys would call this. Let me know, what would you guys call this? Anyway, we're just going to continue to add in more and more layers of ribbon. So I zip tied all my ribbon loops together, and then I had a neutral wreath that I had hanging up that I just remembered about. Now you guys can hot glue a little clip to the back of this and simply clip your little tails onto whatever wreath that you love, but I have this neutral wreath and I thought it would be perfect. I have a spot in my kitchen that has not been wreathed, and because I am doing kind of a pink fall with a little splash of not so spooky ghosty ghost in my kitchen, I'm going to use this for my kitchen wreath. I think I also might need to add in some pink pumpkins. I think that would be super cute as well. But here is how that is looking. I'm absolutely loving it, and just kind of playing and arranging my tails. I don't want to put this outside because I don't want it to catch any wind, but here is how it looks. What do you guys think? It's definitely different, and I'm gonna have to see what I think about it. But hey, we have to try new things, and this is an easy one to do if you guys wanted to try it. It also would look really good on just a greenery base. So let me know what you guys think, yay or nay. Drop it in the comment section. Now let's make some super delicious banana bread. This is the easiest, yummiest banana bread you're ever going to make, and don't judge those bananas, because listen, when your bananas get a little brown, that is when they are perfect. So we're going to start out with 3 bananas. You want to mush them up, and then a 1/3 cup of butter, and then I did a 1/2 cup of regular white sugar, and then half a cup of brown sugar. You can also throw a teaspoon of vanilla in there. I'm out of vanilla, but we're going to keep rolling with it. You also want to whisk your egg before you put it into your mix, which I didn't do, so I kind of tried to whisk it above on there. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the beater, but you don't want to really beat it for super too long, just enough to kind of mix everything together. And then I believe it's 1.5 cups of flour. Yes, that's it. And then a teaspoon of baking soda. And you just take and you can kind of mix that baking soda into your flour. I also added a splash, just a little touch of cinnamon. I don't get super creative or out of the box with my baking. I like to stick to tried and true, but you could also throw in some nuts or chocolate chips or whatever suits your fancy. I'm going to use my glass baking dish for bread, and then I simply just lined it with butter, and then I'm going to throw some flour in and kind of just bump that flour in and around, because you want to get it nice and coated, and then your bread will just pop out pure perfection. So I set my oven on 350. My oven does cook a little bit hot, and then I'm going to cook it for about 50 minutes. So once I had that done, I'm going to scoop it in to my little baking dish. And also just make sure when you're using your electric mixer, you don't want to over mix the dough. You just want to gently hit it with the mixer just a little bit. And if you're strong and you have the time, you can hand mix it or hand whisk it. I get too impatient for that. You guys know I'm impatient. I was also cooking spaghetti for dinner at the time, and this was kind of our dessert. So anyway, I have been craving banana bread, and you know, you guys have probably seen me make banana bread on my channel a couple times, and sometimes I wonder, gosh, I hope they're okay with me doing some of the same things that I have shared with you guys, but this is just really my real life. Like when you guys see me crafting and decorating and making food, this is what my family loves. This is what we've got going on, and so I'm going to share it with you. I wanted to try pumpkin bread, but really banana bread is really delicious. We're going to do pumpkin bread a little bit later in the season, and I had to use up these bananas, so it's a go-to. It's cheap and easy and absolutely delicious, and my family personally just loves it. So hot butter straight out of the oven, there is nothing better. I actually had 2 pieces with my spaghetti that night. It was just so good. I couldn't resist it. My daughter loves it, so very, very yummy. I hope you guys are loving this video and you're inspired. Let me know what you've been baking lately and what is your go-to that has just a couple easy ingredients. Hey, even better, what about if we light up this comment section with everybody's recipes? You guys drop your favorite easy recipe that just has a couple of ingredients, how you whip it up. Maybe it's a dip, maybe it's a bread, maybe it's a soup, or what is your just go-to? Maybe it's your favorite go-to drink. So lately I've been drinking tea. I've switched over this week from coffee to tea. I don't know if it's going to stick or not. I do love my coffee. But the thing I've been noticing about the tea is it really stains my cup. So I'm wondering if it's staining my teeth. What do I do about that, you guys? I've never been a tea drinker. Okay, here is my little puppy dog, Benji Bear. He is playing with his toys. I have all of his toys laid out because I actually washed them in the washer. They were getting so stinky. How often do you guys wash your dog toys? What do you guys think? Anyway, Benji Bear wants to say hi to all his kitty cat and puppy dog fans out there. I'm going to read our devotional, and it's a really good one today. It's one of my favorites. So I just want to thank you guys also for all of the encouragement for me sharing my devotionals. I haven't really ever been afraid of sharing my faith because I believe what I believe, and I feel like whatever you all want to believe is what you want to believe. But I think the reason I was scared to share is because I didn't feel like I was good enough of a Christian to share. You know, I maybe can be kind of hard on myself. So I hope wherever you guys are at, be brave. Just be brave and go for it. So anyway, we love you guys, and roof and meow meow to all of our kitty cat and puppy dog fans out there.
So thank you guys truly so much for joining me on this fun and fabulous crafting and decorating adventure. Gosh, it's such a blessing and honor to have each and every one of you guys here. This year will mark 7 years of me being on YouTube, and I can't even believe that I have just been blessed with so many friends here. So many, I consider you guys honestly to be family because I read your comments every time and I feel like I know you guys, which is super cool to just translate through this screen my love of crafting and decorating and sharing with you guys my home and my heart and my goofiness and just all the fun things. So I am so appreciative of each and every one of you here, and I'm blessed and honored. Man, what an honor it is for us to wake up, have coffee, tea together, craft together, you know, decorate together. I wish every single one of you guys lived on my street and next door, and we would trade recipes and stories. I just recently, yesterday, baked some homemade Irish soda bread. Let me show you guys. Okay, here is my delicious bread. I actually keep it in the refrigerator because it's just me here, and you know, you don't ever know when bread is going to get, you know, not so good. But you make it, the Irish soda bread is made with baking soda, flour, a little bit of oil. I use coconut oil and water. I posted a recipe on my Olivia's Magic Home DIY Facebook page for you guys. So anyway, or you can just go to your ChatGPT or Google and type in rosemary Irish soda bread. So it's made with super easy ingredients, and then I tapped a little bit of rosemary into it, but you don't have to use the rosemary. Rosemary does have a lot of a stronger kind of taste. It has a unique taste. It reminds me a lot of Thanksgiving. And so try out some new breads. There's also, and it's super frugal, super budget friendly, because right now I am a frugal gal. I am just completely honing in on being at home. It's what I love. And I mean, I relish in staying at home all weekend long. Is that crazy? Is that weird? I don't know. Maybe it's because I have been running around kids for years. I've been showing up at events, fully showing up, like hair, makeup, dress, cheerleading spirit on, all the things for all my kids. I showed up for every single thing I was invited to, and I still will. And now my son is getting married. We're 13 days away from his wedding, and my daughter is off in college. She's going to join a little sorority. She's got so many friends, all the things. And I feel for the first time like I can exhale. I do have a lot of fear and worry at times, you know, about if they're okay, if they're happy, all the things, which I think they are. And I believe that the Lord has them, because we give our children to the Lord. We're blessed with them, but they are the Lord's. So, yes, I just feel like I can now exhale. I've done my work as a mama, and I was a full-on mama. You guys know, if you've been around here with me, I talk about my kids, how passionate about my family I am, and all of those things. So whatever season of your life you're in, just relax and enjoy it. And it might not be a relaxing season. I haven't always had relaxing seasons, for sure, but I am having a little bit of a relaxing season. I feel like I shouldn't even tell anybody because then I'm going to get a bunch of stuff thrown on my plate. But I think I needed this. I went through a really painful divorce several years ago. I talked to you guys about that in another video. My sister passed with breast cancer last year, and that was extremely traumatic and very difficult. Now I am a bird launcher or empty nester. And I feel very, very thankful for every day that I'm given that is a gift to be alive, and for all of the people that have crossed my path. And I'm volunteering now to serve more in my church. I serve in the infant to 5-year-old area. I'm a greeter. I don't even have that hard of a job at church. I'm just a greeter, and I smile the whole time. I'm gonna be going to all 3 services and just telling the mamas how beautiful they look when they walk through the door. And I can tell some of them seem so stressed. They've got all these little kids running around, and I remember that. I remember how that felt. And I just want to be a blessing and to make sure they get to their classrooms safely, and that they get a smile, that they get help with their checking in. And it fills my heart up with so much joy to do that. So I know that I'm in a sweet spot right now in my life. I feel thankful because I have taken care of my physical health. I exercise pretty much daily. I walk and I go to the gym some. I do my yoga. I eat really pretty healthy, although I have a sweet tooth that is so bad, you guys. I love sugar and sweets, and so that I really have to keep managed. I do try to bake with a little bit of almond flour. I try to sub out some of the butter for coconut oil. But I can literally probably go through half a batch of cookies in a day. It's true. And a Friday is my baking day now. Now that it's just me, I'm like, Friday is my baking day. And actually, since yesterday was Thursday, I don't know if you guys are watching this in real time, I baked my bread yesterday, and I made Benji Bear's homemade dog food. Yes, now he is the recipient of homemade dog food by moi, by me. And he loves it, and it's vet approved, and it has everything for his nutritional needs, and it's so much better than kibble because he wouldn't eat his kibble. He would not eat his kibble. And so I would put some of my food in there, and I just knew that that probably wasn't the right thing for me to be doing for him. He's 5 years old. I heavily season my food with salt and garlic, and I would try to save out some that hadn't been so seasoned. But or I'd give him some cookie or a piece of bread, no chocolate. But so anyway, now he is getting food that is for him, that is vet approved. It's kind of like the farmer's dog. If you guys have seen those commercials, they pop up on my social medias all the time. But it's really good, healthy food for puppy dogs, which the kibble is fine, but he's a terrier. I don't know, are terriers more finicky than other dogs? My Australian Shepherds that come down, my grand dogs, I feel like they'll eat their food lickety split. They have no problem with the kibble. So I don't know. Maybe our little dogs more finicky? Do we give little dogs more treats because they're so cute and we just baby them more? He's like my baby, you guys. Like, anyway, because I was the chef for my daughter, and I cooked her special vegetarian meals, and now that she's gone, I have lost a couple pounds, like about 5 pounds, not really meaning to, and I've actually been eating a lot more, but I stopped buying snacks. I'm going to an ingredient kitchen. There's not much in this cupboard, but it's just ingredients to actually make food. And she came home this week and she was like, Mom, what do you eat? And I'm like, I eat actual meals. I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I eat food. I don't have any chips. Well, I do make cookies and I eat my cookies, but they're homemade cookies. Everything that I'm eating comes from my kitchen, and it's all ingredients I know. So if you guys are struggling, try that. Snacks are my weakness too, though. I also stopped buying peanut butter and regular butter. I'm only doing coconut oil. So I think that is a game changer, and my tummy feels so much better. I used to snack on a lot of popcorn and nuts, and my mom has diverticulitis. She struggles with that. And I know those are 2 things that are really hard on your stomach, are nuts and popcorn. And so I'm probably headed in that direction. And that's kind of why I was like, you know what? I think I need it. The popcorn. Instead, I'm eating a lot more bread and cookies. But I make my bread without yeast. And So I think that that makes a big difference because it doesn't upset my stomach and it doesn't make me feel puffy. It just makes me feel a little bit more full. Anyway, some of my go-to meals now that I'm an empty nester, I make up a big batch of chili I use tofu instead of regular meat. And I do stir fry, and then I do a pasta. And so those are kind of like on rotation. I love scrambled eggs, and I do a ton of fruit. So anyway, that is probably a lot more than you needed to know about me. How are you guys doing? What are your go-tos if you are just on your own? What do you love? What are your comfort foods? For me right now, it's chili. I know that's super weird. I do make my chili kind of sweet. Let me know in the comment section below if you would like me to share that with you. But I use kidney beans, chili beans, tomato, and then I add in ketchup and mustard and brown sugar to my chili. I don't ever use a packet. I use paprika, a little bit of cayenne because I'm a spicy gal. The spicier the better. And chili powder, paprika. Yeah, I think I have a couple more little ingredients too I like to add in there, but salt and pepper, of course. Anyway, I just love the comfort of chili. And if you pair chili with a little bit of rice, that makes a complete protein. So if you guys didn't know that, I learned that after cooking for my daughter who's a vegetarian, because you have to make sure they're getting all their protein. She did come home this week and it was such a blessing to see her. I might pop up this weekend. I know she's going to be super busy. So I'm trying to like not be all up in her business, but also like text her and let her know I love her and I'm here for her. So all of those things. Okay, now as promised, we're going to do our Bible study. Oh, I have to share with you guys one more thing real quick. So here is my future daughter-in-law's bridal bouquet. I actually did not make this. We ordered this from Amazon. It was about $120. I'm doing all the florals for her. And I'm going to go in and fluff it and maybe add some stuff to it. I'm not for sure. I mocked up one for her as well that she can use as her toss bouquet, which is just a little bit smaller. She wanted something a little bit more full. So, but anyway, this is the one I made. I might actually list this one in my Etsy shop because it's really beautiful. I added on this one, I added this beautiful jewel. Isn't that pretty? And then I added just these like pretty ribbons to it. Let me share with you guys the bridesmaids bouquets. So here are the bridesmaids bouquets. Now these we also ordered off of Amazon. I need to go back in and look at the original picture, but I kind of feel like they may need to be fluffed. Like I think the greenery needs to come out and be fluffed. So we have 13 more days until the wedding, and I know my future daughter-in-law is feeling pretty stressed, and I send her prayers and comfort things, and I'm doing a lot of the decorating for the wedding and helping out with as much as I can for her. And so anyway, I'm going to be working on fluffing all of these out and making them look, you know, just fabulous. And then I'm also going to finish packing all of the reception table boxes. So she had the grand idea to order these boxes. You can get them on Amazon. They're just boxes that you would store like file folders in. And for each reception table, which I believe we have 16, we have everything packed in this box. I don't know if you guys can see very well. I don't want to unpack it because this is actually the newlywed table box. But here's their like pretty cups and the chargers. Let me get this out and just. So let me show you guys this really quick because I can pull this one out pretty easily. So here's everything that we have packed in this, the plates, the dinnerware, their little card, and then the chargers that are going to go on there. So each table has its own box, and this weekend I'm going to go through each box because we ran out of some of the dinnerware. And then of course their champagne flutes and their centerpiece and their candles, everything's being packed into these boxes. So I actually hurt my back a couple weekends back when we packed these because we did so many of them. And so I have a back brace that I'm wearing now because of that. Anyway, so this weekend I am going to be working on packing reception boxes, just going through everything with a fine-tooth comb, making lists, and all of those things. And I'm really putting this wedding in God's hands, and I'm really encouraging her to do that. So I know I'm getting super long-winded, so And you guys seem to really like my chatty videos, so I hope you guys are here for it, but I do need to get on with this because this video is going to be so long. Okay, this devotional, we are on August 26th. I'm always a little bit behind on the devotionals. This is out of He Whispers Your Name by Sherry Hill. I'm always a little bit behind because I only post on YouTube 3 days a week, and so anyway, that makes me behind on the devotionals. But this is called A Higher and Better Perspective. Let me grab my little drink here because my mouth is really dry today for some reason. Probably too much salt in my food or the allergy medicine. So, a higher and better perspective. Don't give in to negative thinking. I know it's easy when your job hangs by a thread, your finances have fallen apart, or your relationships just aren't working anymore. But if you focus on what is wrong and develop unhealthy emotions, anxious thoughts, and a fearful spirit, and you lose your faith. I see your life and the circumstances of the world from a much different perspective. I see the big picture, and that changes everything. I want you to see through my eyes, so I've given you my word, which contains my thoughts. I don't want you relying on what you see or what others tell you. I want you to come to me. I want you to glimpse your life and your situations through my eyes. From heaven's standpoint, the impossible is possible. From my perspective, anything can happen at any time because I'm sovereign, in control, and able to do all things. My power reaches outside of time and space, and I do not operate within the physical world. And that means that I can change human hearts and provide resources that don't exist one moment, but do in the next. They don't exist in one moment, but they do in the next. I'm full of surprises, and they're always for good. God's surprises are always for good. Believe in my vision for your life. Trust that I know what is best, and rest while I work. God is saying rest while I work, and that is so fitting for what I was talking about and saying, I'm in this season, I'm just exhaling, like, I'm just taking a deep breath, and I'm okay with everything that is going on around me and with all my blessings. Okay, the scripture that goes with this says, as the heavens are higher than the earth, you are my ways higher than your ways. And as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways. They're higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. And that's Isaiah 55:9. So God is always keeping our that eternal perspective, where I think we tend to live in the moment more, or in the future, or in the past, and that's where we get caught up in so many worry and emotions and like scary thoughts. And God doesn't want that for us. God says, hey, I got you, girl. Let's just calm down for a minute. So I think that keeping that in mind, knowing that God's way is the best and God's plan is the best, is really, I think, the best thing that we can hope for and look for and just rest in. Like, we can rest there. We can rest in God's promises and God's hope and God's goodness. So I hope wherever you guys are at, you're having a little bit of rest, to take some time to carve out a restful day, a restful time, no matter what you've got going on. Even if you have so many things swirling around you, grab your cup of coffee, grab your devotional, go cozy up in bed, even if it's for 20 minutes, turn off your TV, turn off your cell phone, or on your sofa or your reading nook, wherever you have, even make like a little prayer spot and just spend some time with the Lord. I feel like I can do that now all the time because it's just me. So I can put on praise and worship music. I can just rest in God's word and house about. I call it housing about, because really I just love to like do things in my house, which is what I've just been relishing in. I know the kids are like, what are you doing all weekend? And I'm like, I'm just housing about. I have been in my backyard, I've been out in my garden, my plants still look really beautiful, I'm baking bread. I did a garage sale last weekend, sold a bunch of junk that I don't even know is gone, honestly. Like, now I can move in my studio more. I've still got more things I need to sell too, which is ridiculous. So yeah. Anyway, I hope that you guys have a gorgeous, blessed weekend. I know I've got a little long-winded here. I love you to the moon and back. I'm going to hug all of your hearts so, so tight. Thank you for being here. Until our next video, be kind to yourselves. Be kind to one another. Get some rest. And we'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye.
Love you.